Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Putt.
Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome back to First Contact Radio. Today is Thursday. It's the last day of March, the 31st. 3 months down for this year. So what we've got going on for today is we know our sun sign is the same. It's in Aries. Our moon sign is in Capricorn. So we have a fire sign, Aries. He who sets in order, putting things in order, organization. Spring cleaning kind of goes along with this idea. That's what the Emperor is all about. Earth, Capricorn, the physical world, the physical reality. But we are reminded here by the chains in front of this that this physical reality is an illusion to the real reality. Because the folks that are chained to it are only chained to it because of their ignorance, not understanding the true connection. Once they realize the true connection, they're no longer chained and they become free. And this character, well, he's just a character who's in the way, and you just move past him because you can't be caught up once you move past that state of ignorance. Okay, so we have an earth sign. Now, when you have an earth sign and when you have Capricorn, Capricorn deals with the physical world, the things in the physical world that we're doing, maybe our career, anything related, our bodies, anything in the physical world. Now, it's not a bad thing because we live in the physical world, so we need to be able to maneuver through the world. We need to be able to be alive in this world if we're here. So we need to be able to take care of the physical reality. We need to understand a bit about what this is about, what this earth is, and what it isn't. Okay? It's not evil. It's not bad. It's not that we go out and do that. It's that we are in this body. We're spiritual beings having a human experience, and that's all it is. As long as we remember the spirit, we're good to go. Aspects we have coming up for today, 9 a.m., we have a sextile between Neptune and the moon. So it's telling us we need to take a new perspective, okay? Neptune's all about taking a new perspective on things. So we're encouraged to take a new perspective on what's happening around us in our physical reality because it's in Capricorn. We have a square between Aries and Capricorn that happens at 10:17 a.m. Square lesson. Something needs to be learned with the way in which we organize and put together our physical reality. So, we're going to get a new perspective on things, and after that new perspective, it's going to allow us an opportunity to see where maybe we need to make some adjustments to the things we're doing in this physical reality, the way in which we put things in order. Because the Emperor oversees, and then when things need to be reworked, the Emperor is the one who is there to assist with that process, the Aries energy. 3:49 p.m., Mercury communication is going to be in a sextile with Uranus. So we look over here for Mercury communication and Uranus, both of them here in Aries. They're right next to each other, so it's being at a party, being at the same room in a house, and in that same room here, able to communicate. So unexpected changes when it comes to Aries, pioneering, leadership, organization, unexpected changes in those areas, surprises. Mercury, the communication, is there to communicate. Learn the lessons about communication. Okay, then we have the moon sign in Jupiter. There's an expansion of our physical reality and all that's around us. And then finally, Pluto and the Moon are going to be in conjunction at 9:37 p.m. So Pluto and the Moon right over here in Capricorn. So all this dealing with the physical reality, the physical world, the earth. Okay, deep transformation taking place within those areas. Right, so those are what we're looking at for today. And of course, as I said, today's the last day of this month. Move into the new month tomorrow. The moon is currently at 50% of the way full, making its way back down to the new moon. Be there in about, a week, 7 days from now on the 7th. On the Jewish calendar, today is 21 Adar 2, 21 Adar 2. Daily thoughts is precious time. The first creation was time. It began and it will end, and then it will be no more. Each breath, each tick, each beat of the heart comes only once. None will never be repeated itself precisely. Every instant of life is a raw but precious jewel, beckoning, pleading, unlock my secret. Do with me something to reveal my purpose of being, for I am here only this one time, and then never again. And so this is our primary mission, to elevate time and to make it holy. The Dreamspell Oracle, we're at 11 tone day. 11 tone is the tone of dissolving, kind of like taking salt or sugar, dropping it in water, and it dissolves. Once it dissolves, it becomes more. The whole water becomes salty or sugary. Or in Star Wars terminology, when Obi-Wan Kenobi said, "If you strike me down, I'll be much bigger than before." And then when he was struck down, he dissolved into the universal essence. So today we have the 11 wind, inspiration, guided by inspiration. We're towards the end of this wave spell, only 2 more days to go. This has been the wave spell of the human, the free will, how we use our energy, the decisions we make. The phrase for today is I dissolve in order to communicate releasing breath. I seal the input of spirit with the spectral tone of liberation. I'm guided by my own power doubled. Space weather, solar wind currently at 433.9 kilometers per second. Planetary K-index currently 1 over the next 24 hours. Could get up to a 3. Nothing much in the way of coronal holes at this point in time. M-class flare possibilities is 1%, X-class 1%. Geomagnetic storm activity in the mid-latitudes, it looks like it is increasing, going 20 to 30%. In the upper latitudes, we're going 15 to 10, 25 to 45. So there is an increase. Remember, the universe is breathing, inhaling, and exhaling. And finally, looking up at the sky tonight with the moon out of the evening sky, try exploring galaxy groups around Gamma Leonis in the sickle of Leo. Okay. There's Leo. So the sickle is right up here. So looking up in this area tonight, in which you will see Gamma Leonis explore that area there. Okay. And there you have it. That is our cosmic weather, the energy around us. Remember, the reason I bring this up, the reason I talk about these energies every day, is because we are living in a world that is a world of energy. If we understand the energy around us, it helps us to understand how we're operating in life, the energy we're moving through. So we go out on a daily basis, we look at the weather, we look outside, we determine what the weather's like. No different here. We're looking at the weather. It's just not the same type of weather that we hear on the news stations with the fire, with the water, the rain, and so on. This is more subtle energies that are hitting us and yet affecting us each and every day. So it's important that we know where we're at, what we're doing, and how we're getting along with it. UFO News is up next.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. Today I have 4 good stories. First story, UFO exits ground below the Chinese fish farm, causing 25 tons of fish to disappear. Okay, we could see a big hole in the ground here or in the water. Another examination of it here. Big hole just opened up and everything went through. Location of the discovery in Guangzhou, China. I probably didn't even get anywhere close to being right with that, but that's where it took place. The question I present you is, if this is a sinkhole, then why does it have a straight 90-degree angle edges? It should have a sloped angle down. The fish should have had a very small cavern, but for all that water to disappear, there's something very big, very hollow down there with room to spare, like a base. I do believe this is an entrance or exit of a UFO. UFOs often leave their underground bases, and when they do, the ground is separated and then pushed back together. However, the water prevented the ground from going back into place, thus creating a hole probably several kilometers deep to the alien base itself. I would really like to see the look on the faces when the rain of fish falls from the space sky onto them. Okay, so not sure if indeed that is the case, but it's good possibility. Good possibility, right? Okay, so that's what we've got there. All right, here we have an article, How Ancient Civilizations Almost Destroyed the Earth by Nick Redfern, who reveals evidence of hostile alien events in centuries past. Nick Redfern's vast, worldwide audience is anxiously awaiting the chance to dive into his latest blockbuster, Weapons of the Gods, How Ancient Civilizations Almost Destroyed the Earth. Flamboyantly controversial and independently thought-provoking, Redfern is one of the foremost experts in government conspiracies, UFOs, aliens, ancient civilizations. In Weapons of the God, he studies long-gone civilizations to answer the question, did previous cultures blossom, develop, and thrive only to destroy themselves tens of thousands of years ago with the same technology as the bombs that decimated Hiroshima and Nagasaki? In this startling new book, Redfern reveals evidence of Armageddon-level events in the biblical cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, the ancient Pakistani culture of Mohenjo-daro, Pakistan, and Lonar crater in India, the epic Sanskrit text of the Ramayana and Mahabharata are descriptions of nuclear warfare that took place thousands of years ago. Redfern argues that many previous civilizations cracked the secrets of the atom only to become victims of its terrifying power, while others may have been destroyed by hostile aliens with their own nuclear arsenals. A review remarked, you can always count on Nick Redfern for quality conspiracy and UFO literature. His books have run the gamut from alien abduction to exposures on the infamous Men in Black to the search for exclusive creatures. He makes the world of the paranormal so compelling to the readers. Popular speaker, media guest, Redfern is the author of dozens of bestsellers on UFOs, cryptozoology, and the world of the paranormal, and has appeared on countless TV shows. Okay, there you go. Conversation with a real-time abductee, Chris Holly over at UFO Digest. The abductees I first interviewed, who gave me an idea to join a group of real-time abductees, was a very special woman who I introduced to by a relative of mine who was a friend. Spending time with her, I realized the importance of trying to pull together a united group of real-time abductees for the purpose of sharing experiences in order to see if a common thread could be found in those being taken. This woman lives on Long Island. She's a very private person and lives her life as a hermit, closed off to all but family and few select members. She lives in a highly protected environment in a secure home with family members who defend and protect the woman with determination and love. She's a very unusual person who has had a lifetime of interference by whatever has been abducting her for nearly her entire life. This woman is by far the most unusual in appearance of the group of abductees in my interview group. Her Her eyes are very large. They are clear, bright blue. I noticed whenever the sun would streak into a room and reach her face, she would shield her eyes, blink, and move away from the direct light. She has very dark circles under her eyes, very pale skin. I questioned her about her discomfort in the sun and her eyes, and she replied, "The sun is blinding me. Cannot see at all in strong sunlight." Her arms and legs are covered in areas by large bandages. The areas of her legs and arms that were covered with what looked like white scars of different lengths and shapes. She was chubby but ageless. I cannot tell if she was 40, 50, or 60. She looks to be a middle-aged woman, but does not have any wrinkles or the appearance of an older woman. I honestly could not judge her age at all. She has light hair, which is very fine and pale, not brown or blonde. Her hair is sort of light without a definite shade. Okay. She told me that the odd activity started when she was about 5 or 6. She recalls strange people being around her and being taken away from her home often as a child, but was never sure where she was or what was happening to her during those events. She would have those encounters at different times. She may be out playing in the yard or in the room playing with her toys. She would wake up in the middle of the night terrified, but had no idea at age 6 what was happening to her. By the time she was a teen, this woman realized she was different from other kids. She was much smarter than the average kid her age and was developing psychic abilities that were very strong and very frightening to her. She could look at someone she did not know and understand immediately things about them. She would know their names, where they lived, what they were thinking, and most of all, if they were a good or bad person. She could tell friends what was going to happen to them weeks before the events occurred. Her differences were separating her from her friend and her family. She was becoming withdrawn and stranger by the day. During her time growing up as a woman, she would have continuous episodes going on about her normal life with lost time events lacing through her years. She would know when she was about to occur. She would suddenly become dizzy and within seconds find that she was surrounded by a strong ray of blinding light. The next thing she knew, she would find herself slumped on the ground in a place she did not know, alone, ill, and frightened. She quickly learned how to pull herself together so she could figure out where she was and how she could return home. She would hide money in her shoes and hope she would still be there when she returned from those horrid experiences so she'd be able to call for help or do what was needed to do to return to her home. Her life was a hell. All right, to this article. Yesterday I did the story of the woman who was abducted many times as well. 2 sisters. So here's another one. And finally, one last story here. Teens arrested in connection to stolen UFO at Roswell, New Mexico. Okay, here's the knuckleheads here who thought this would be a good idea. These kids were probably trying to steal it to make a YouTube video of a fake UFO crash. I see they destroyed the disc, which does not look like a disc crash there. YouTube seemed to be a big outlet for kids today, and peer pressure probably pushed them to it. Police in Roswell have apprehended a teenager that they believe was one of the just behind a theft and destruction of the International UFO Museum flying saucer. The crime made headlines this week after authorities released security camera footage showing 3 men stealing the iconic model UFO. The unfortunate poster was added to the tale when police subsequently discovered the crash smashed to pieces on the side of the road. But it appears that justice may soon be served with the arrest of the 17-year-old man, subject who was brought to the attention of authorities via anonymous tip. As of now, the man is refusing to divulge the identities of the accomplices in the caper or what motivated their saucer smashing. Based on the subject being 17 years old, we're guessing it was somehow involved in impressing a girl. Nonetheless, since he is not providing any answers to the investigators, police are hoping that additional insights from the public can help lead to the capture of the co-conspirators. Let's hope they act fast, because with the news of their cohort being taken into custody, the remaining members of the coterie of craft smashers may make a run for it, and the Mexican border is only a mere 160 miles away. Good, good. You know, out there in Roswell, UFOs are big business, and somebody stole the UFO that's part of their museum. Not a good thing, man, not a good thing. So, hope they catch the other guys. Glad they caught this one. Sometimes people do really bizarre, stupid things, and this certainly was one of them. All right, there you have it. That was our UFO news. I'll be back. We're going to get into some conspiracy theories and some current events. Stay tuned.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of them.
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The evidence is overwhelming. Step past your fear, take a look. Illuminati lies keep growing, but they're illusion from your eyes. And wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What would our founding fathers say if they were alive today? Must be turning in their graves. Redcoats are coming, big brother's watching. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What if I land and two if I see? And I on the opposite shore will be ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. When a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism. It is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise. It's time to demand the truth.
All right. So we're going to continue on here, but I'm going to get into a few topics about some of the current events, things that might be in the area of conspiracy theory, because, well, these things are quite important for us to be aware of. You can see this first one here. Bush official just confirmed that our wars are for corporate interests. I think Smedley Butler was onto something. Colonel Lawrence Wilkerson, former George W. Bush administration heavyweight, told Stollen in a major exclusive interview. Major General Smedley Butler earned the highest rank in the U.S. Marine Corps, accumulating numerous accolades as he helped lead the United States through the decades of war. He later became an ardent critic of such militarism and imperialism. War was a racket, Butler famously said, and Wilson, who also turned to call the U.S. imperialist policy, agrees with and admires the esteemed Marine. Wilkerson, who served as the Chief of Staff, former Secretary of State Colin Powell, has grown tired of corporate interests that we go abroad to slay monsters for. Of the profiteering scheme that the wars have come to embody, Wilkerson quoted Butler. Looking back on it, I might have given Al Capone a few hints. The best he could do was to operate his racket in 3 districts. I operated on 3 continents. Quoting Butler's brief but accurate characterization of what Eisenhower called the military-industrial complex, Wilkerson added that today's war machine is more pernicious than Eisenhower ever thought it would be. The willingness of such weapons and military equipment corporations to excuse transgressions of repressive and abusive regimes in the Middle East and Asia for the sake of profit Wilkerson stands as evidence Eisenhower underestimated the extent to which the problem would manifest. Bill Clinton's expansion of NATO after George W. Bush and his Secretary of State James Baker had assured Gorbachev and then Yeltsin that we wouldn't go in an inch further east. Was this for Lockheed Martin and Raytheon and Boeing and others to increase their network of potential weapon sales? Wilkerson added. You bet it was. He answered his own question. Is there a penchant on behalf of Congress to bless the use of force more often than not because of the constituencies that may have the money to get them from the defense contractors? You bet. It's not like Dick Cheney or somebody like that went and said, let's have a war because we want to make money for Halliburton. Wilkerson explained, describing such decision-making as pernicious. Taking the description a step further, Wilkerson characterized those corporations flooding congressional elections and political PACs with cash as another pernicious influence. Now, the question is, are we surprised by this? Not at all, because this is something we've heard for quite some time that was going on. Okay, quite some time that was going on, and here it is. Let's move on to the next story here. Paid positions to protest. Let's see. Craigslist ad. Get paid $15 an hour to protest at the Trump rally. Post promises pre-protest instructions and a shuttle event bus to the event. A pro-Bernie Sanders Craigslist ad invites people in Wisconsin to protest against Donald Trump for $15 an hour. Beneath an image of Bernie Sanders' T-shirt, the ad, which was posted on Tuesday morning, reads, paid positions for protesters at the Trump rally, shuttle buses, parking, signs, and hourly pay available. $15 an hour due to economic inequality. Meet at 3300 West Tripp Road, Janesville, Wisconsin for pre-protest instructions and to get your time card. But is this ad genuine? One respondent on Facebook noted that the meetup location was 10 miles from the site of Trump's event at the Janesville Holiday Inn. While that's true, it's still only a 16-minute drive, which is presumably why transportation was offered to bus the protesters to the rally. The sight of protesters being paid right in front of Trump to support would also be something that organizers would obviously be keen to avoid. All right, so we've heard this before, haven't we? It's not like it's something brand new. And, we understand that there's problems with this kind of thing going on. All right, let's look at this next one here. Hold on a second. I'm having a little issue. I'm going to jump away for a moment to fit. Well, actually, no. I'm just going to continue on. Here we have a situation with this woman. And what we have here is a woman who cries wolf. Now, the reason I'm going to talk about this is because it isn't being covered in the mainstream media, and I feel it's important that somebody is covering this in alternative media, henceforth myself and the others who are doing this. You see, Donald Trump is getting attacked all around from all of the corporate media. They're all a bunch of liars. They're all out there protecting their own and lying. And this woman, Michelle Fields, she's pretty much as bad as it comes. She is a ambulance chaser. And so what we have here is a video. I'm not going to play any of this. I'm going to leave this for you to check out on your own. But this woman here, she claims that she was grabbed and almost dragged down to the ground, and had an experience worse thing since her father had died. Worst thing since her father had died is what she had claimed. And, well, that's pretty sad that she would say that. And then video evidence shows that what she claimed was not true. It, was inaccurate. Corey said that he didn't touch the woman. Unfortunately, he did. He just didn't know who she was in the course of the melee that was taking place there, or all of the scramble of stuff. Nonetheless, what she claimed didn't happen. And then when you look up her past, you see that she's been lying. She got in the midst of a crowd in New York, fell down. You hear the police telling her to get up. She was calling for police brutality there. She had a situation where she accused Allen West of groping her. Turned out that wasn't true. She had a situation. There's a video online. You can find Mark Dice did a short little interview with her outside one of the Bilderberg meetings and asked her some basic questions. And of course, she went and she wrote and said he was harassing her. This is what this woman does. Okay, she's out of California. Her father was a writer in the business. Did some really good stuff. Wrote some good movies. But this chick here, she's just everything that's bad with journalism. And so this gentleman here, the reason I brought this up, Stephen, and I hope I pronounce your name right, Stephen Molyneux, he does great reporting, great stories and investigations, and he really nails it with this one, showing you what are the ins and outs, what really happened in this situation. It's important to know what happened in the situation because then you can realize that this is yet another person trying to deceive him. Now, this woman was working for Breitbart. Breitbart, I'm sure Andrew Breitbart is rolling over in his graves of what they have done with his organization, but he has some real disreputable people working there. Anyway, the person who is in charge of things now is a Trump or a Cruz supporter. This woman was hired on specifically to attack others. Her mother is somebody who is involved in anti-Trump, and she's involved in illegal aliens and so on. Watch the whole video. There's so much information here. I don't have time in the few minutes talking about this to lay it all on the line. Listen to Stefan. He will give you the scoop on all of this, and when you see this woman, you'll understand she's nothing more but someone who cries wolf. And when you cry wolf, pretty soon people stop believing what you're saying because they know that you're just full of a bunch of hogwash. All right, this story right here. Temple of Baal go up in New York and London. Temple. Okay, remember in the story we had the other day of Tammuz, on Easter, Tammuz, and how prior to that Nimrod had died and he went up to the sun god, and he was told that he was now the new sun god. Okay, all worshiping things that aren't worshiping the true divine God. Anyway, this article says needless visitors next month Times Square, New York, or Leicester Square in London are in for a culture shock, a life-size reproduction of the Temple of Baal. Needless to say, the exhibition of a symbol of paganism, child sacrifice, ritual prostitution, well known to the readers of the Bible, has raised concern. The display, however, is part of World Heritage by the organizers from the International Archaeology as a statement of defiance against ISIS, the Islamic terror group that destroyed the Temple of Baal in Palmyra, Syria, in August of 2015. The original structure, dedicated to the god Baal or Baal in AD 32, approximately the time of the crucifixion of Jesus, stood nearly 2,000 years before ISIS leveled the site along with many others. Prior to the current war in Syria, the ancient site had over 150,000 visitors a year. Using a database of thousands of images, the Institute of Digital Archaeology is creating a full-size, 50-foot-tall 3D print replica of the entrance arch of the temple. The work is being done in China. Only the replica of the arch is being displayed. The Bible's Old Testament frequently condemns the worship of false idols, with Baal, which means Lord, most often singled out. Baal worship, common in the biblical Levant, spread across the Mediterranean, becoming dominant in North Africa's Carthage, where archaeologists have excavated the extensive cemetery with remains of sacrificed children. The name of the famous Carthaginian leader, Hannibal, is made up in part of the name Baal. Okay, I'm going to leave this for you so that you can see what that is all about. All right, read further for yourself. And now, here's another piece. Now, why am I bringing all these things? Let me read this to you first. Pamela Geller, Muslim, offers $10,000 to anyone who could show the Qur'an commands terror. So where do I pick up my check? Omar Al-Natur, who identifies himself as a Palestinian American Muslim student, humanitarian, has published an article in the Huffington Post entitled "Why Muslims Should Never Have to Apologize for Terrorism." It's one of the most deceptive apologetic pieces to ever appear on HuffPo, and that is saying a lot. Picture this. You wake up in the morning, you hear the wife screaming at you because it's pouring rain outside. Eleanor starts out. She hates the rain, and now her day is ruined because of you. You go downstairs only to hear your children yell at you because they broke the toaster. They can have waffles now, and it's your fault. They can't have waffles now, it's your fault. On and on. Comparing things that happen in the course of a day that are irritating and not having to apologize for terrorism is deceptive and illogical. Millions of Muslims across the world are waging a bloody holy war to impose Islam because that is what is written in Qur'an, Hadith, etc. Nonetheless, Al-Antor presses on with his argument. Quite a ridiculous scenario, right? Can you imagine always being blamed for things that you have absolutely no control over? Can you imagine always being asked to apologize for these things? Can you imagine being hated whether or not you do not apologize? This is what being a Muslim in America feels like. In reality, the American Muslim community should be leading the world in reforming Islam and showing the way to individual freedom. Instead, many Muslims in the U.S. reap the enormous benefits of freedom while trying to silence the truth, impose Sharia blasphemy laws, and cover their Mujahideen brothers by pretending that they had nothing to do with Islam. In fact, they are just as culpable as jihadis. Al-Antor continues, I'm a proud American raised in Texas. I'm a college student. I'm a humanitarian. I'm an aspiring physician. I'm someone who hopes to revolutionize access to medicine and healthcare in the United States and in war-torn countries across the world. I am also a Muslim, one of over 1.6 billion who are blamed whenever an act of terrorism occurs, as if we are nothing more than a six-letter word hijacked by those who wrongly use our religion to justify their heinous crimes. A November 2015 poll by the Pew Research Center revealed significant levels of support for ISIS within the Muslim world. Another poll released in November shows that 13% of Syrian refugees have a positive sentiment towards ISIS. The Pew poll validates everything I've been saying and blows the fiction that the media, academic, and cultural elites have been spinning clear out of the water. Even worse, you can absolutely be sure that the real extent of the support is higher than the Pew data indicates, much higher. These Muslims just admit to it. Others do not. Other surveys show that 58% of the Muslims in the U.S. reject criticism of Islam as a right. 45% watch such blasphemers punished legally. 12% want them killed. Do you think such people love America in a genuine sense? Okay, so 58% of the Muslims want, or 12% of the Muslims want to have Americans and people who don't like Islam to be dead. I'll never insist that he does. As a Muslim American who continually strives to do everything I can for the betterment of my community and this nation, I am tired of being asked to apologize and condemn terrorism, and I have absolutely nothing to do with it. He adds, as a practicing Muslim, I know that my religion teaches peace, and I am quite certain of this fact that I will award to anyone $10,000 that can find me a verse in the Qur'an that says it's okay to kill innocent people or to commit acts of terror. This is an open offer that will never expire. All right, so here, where do I pick up my 10,000? These are all from the Qur'an. And slay them whenever you come upon them. Expel them from where they expelled you. Persecution is more grievous than slaying, but fight them not by the holy mosque until they should fight you there. Then if they fight you, slay them. Such is the recompense of unbelievers. But if they give over, surely God is all forgiving, all compassionate. Fight them till there is no persecution, and if religion is God's, and if they give over, there shall be no enmity save for evildoers. Here's another one, Quran 3:151. We will cast into our hearts of the unbelievers terror, for they that have associated with Allah that for which He sent them down never authority. Their longing shall be the fire. Evil is the longing of the evildoers. Another one, Quran 5:33. This is the recompense of those who fight against God and His messenger and hasten about the earth to do corruption there. They shall be slaughtered or crucified, and their hands and their feet shall alternately be struck off, or they shall be banished from the land. Okay, on and on and on. So basically, the Quran is full of phrases and passages that talk about killing of the non-believers. I mean, someone who doesn't believe in the ways of the Muslims. Now, in all fairness, the Holy Bible is also filled with things as well, and you don't see people running around killing others, just like you're not necessarily seeing all Muslims running around doing this. Okay, it's only a small percentage, but you have 1.6 billion. 1.6 billion. Okay, in this article here, it shows and says that in this survey, 12%, where is it at here? 12% wanted to kill people. Survey showed 58% of the Muslims in the U.S. reject criticism of Islam as a right. 45% want blasphemers published legally, and 12% want them killed. Okay? 12%. So 12% of 1.6 billion Muslims, that's a whole lot of Muslims that would be extremists. And you can go online and you can find videos where you could see in mosques lectures taking place, and in lecture halls and so on, where you have imams and heads of the Muslim community talking and saying that these aren't extreme thoughts of the Muslims. This is just how the Muslims think. This is normal Muslim behavior. So we need to take a look at this and understand that a small percentage of troublemakers within that group can cause a whole lot of damage to America, to the world, and directly to their group itself, because they're giving a bad name to all of the rest of the Muslim group of Islam that aren't engaged in these behavioral practices. So we don't want to condemn all of Islam, just like one shouldn't condemn all of Christianity or anything else, but we do need to be aware that there is a dangerous element within, and we need to not turn a blind eye to that, because there are some of these bad guys, these bad people, sneaking into America with all of these immigrants that are coming across the border, with all of these immigrants we're bringing in. They're sneaking in, which is why it was suggested or said by Donald Trump that we have a temporary ban until we figure out whether the system we're using to make sure we're having the right people come in is in place. Do you want to have to be concerned that there was thousands of these extremists coming across the border to kill Americans? Do you want to have that concern and worry? I certainly don't. And for my friends and family, I certainly don't want them to have that concern either, or for any American for that matter. So I think it's important that we take the time to make sure that we are letting the good people in and keeping the bad people out. It only makes sense. Anybody who doesn't see the sense in that, well, I'm going to say that you're probably not thinking clearly, because I would guess that those same people probably don't let anybody into their house that just walks up to their door. I'm sure they take time at the front door to see who it is, and if they sense that it's somebody that's not a good person, they don't allow them into their home. So if they don't allow them into their home, then we shouldn't allow them into the country if they're a bad person either. We want the good people to come in. But it's not the good people that we're worried about. It's the bad people who are trying to sneak in other ways. The ones who are coming over here and receiving shipments of weapons and then hiding them in their mosques. It's the bad guys. Okay? So in all of these groups, whether it's Islam, the Muslims, whether it's the blacks, whether it's the Mexicans, whether it's the whites, or the Asians, whatever groups are out there, there's always a small element of that group that is causing problems, whereas the majority of the group are not. But the majority of the group is not what we're concerned about. It's the minorities of group, that small percentage of those groups that are causing the problems, making them look bad. So when the gangbangers are going out, it makes the black community look bad because they're out, spreading hate as Black Lives Matter, spreading hatred instead of trying to unite people. When you have the Islamic community go out and you have these extremists causing problems, it's giving a bad name to all of the peaceful Muslims. When you have Christians going out and a small percentage of them going out being extreme and doing things, it gives Christianity, all the peaceful ones, a bad name. When you have whites that are going out as white supremacists and they're doing things, it gives whites a bad name because not all whites are engaged with that. It's a small percentage. And the same thing with people from Asia, people from Mexico, on and on and on. Small percentages, groups doing it. But in this world where there's more and more numbers, a small percentage, 10% of 1.6 billion, that's millions of people. Okay? So we need to be aware of what we're doing and that we're not hurting ourselves. So why am I bringing this up today? I'm bringing this up because it's very important. All of these issues that we're aware of. You know, we are fighting in America for our freedom right now. You can see that there's ugly battles going on. There's attacks going on upon Trump like I've never seen the media gang up on anybody. And why are they doing that? They're doing that because Donald Trump is not like they are. They are all part of an establishment, bought and paid for and controlled. Donald Trump, over the course of his years, has not been involved with that system of control. He does not have all of those donors that he has to answer to. Therefore, he has a different set of freedom in which he is able to operate by. And that scares the mainstream media because they've been lying to us for years. It scares the politicians because they've been lying for years. It scares anybody that's been anti-American because the man, Trump, is a true American that wants to go in and do things for the betterment of this country. And to see that all of these groups, the Republicans, the Democrats, the Pope, various heads of different nations, all against him, kind of should say something to us. Americans need to wake up. How long are we going to continue to be stupid and allow bad things to go on? There's plenty of scandals that are out there. There's plenty of things that are happening that we really need to be more vigilant about. And I am a Trump supporter. And I do feel that he would do right by this country, that he wants to make us a great country, help us to get back to where we were. I'm not concerned about all of the stuff people are saying, the nonsense, because I know there's a lot of propaganda. People criticize him. Why don't you talk about what you would do against these countries? What would be your plan? Let me ask you this. Here's an analogy. Let's say you're playing football. Let's say you got a big game, Super Bowl. Let's say just a regular game. Before the game, do you think that your coach is going to walk over to the opponent and say, here's our playbook. I want to give you our playbook so you know all the plays we're going to run during this game. Do you think that happens? Do you think that happens in any type of sporting event or any event in life where we walk up to our enemy and we give them our playbook and say, here's what we're going to do to defeat you? That would be stupid, wouldn't it? And yet, this is what they want. They want to know, what is the playbook? How come you're not telling us all the answers? And the media is all over. I saw a story the media just did about Kasich and why he was using a fork and knife to eat his pizza. Really? These are the questions they're throwing in about him. Yet Donald Trump does an interview the other day, and he talks with his hands like he does, and he's moving his hands, and a reporter has a phone out to record him, and he accidentally knocks it out of her hand because he hits her. He apologized, but the media jumps on that like he did it intentionally. My goodness. But Kasich is eating pizza with a fork. You see the hypocrisy of what's going on? If you watched what's going on, we're being railroaded, my friends. I don't know what to say, and I don't know if people are really listening, but this is a true fight for America. A true fight for America, and if we don't get this right, then America is not going to be the same country. It's already gone down because we have a Muslim terrorist in office right now. And so, unless we fix this issue over these next several months, beginning with the program, we're going to really be in a whole load of mess. Now, do the people really have any say in what goes on? Yes and no. As time has gone by, the need for the Electoral College and the way which is done, it seems a bit outdated because there's more and more people than there were in the past. There's more and more people who have their say in things, and that should certainly be a part of it. But behind the scenes is where the events are really playing themselves out, the backroom deals, all of the business. That's why we need a businessman like Donald Trump to be in there to handle all of these. So before you start criticizing everything he's about, I would challenge you to listen a bit more about what he is saying. Don't listen to the mainstream media. Because when Donald Trump said there should be a temporary ban on Muslims till we figure out what's going on, the mainstream media says Donald Trump wants to ban all Muslims. When he says there are bad guys coming across the border from Mexico, they're not all, but some of them are bad guys sneaking across. When he says this, the mainstream media says Donald Trump says all Mexicans are bad. So they're lying. They're not telling you the truth. And so I did this show talking about these things today because I believe it's important. I believe our country is at a very a tipping point. We're at a point where we could really, slide all the way down the hill into a garbage pile. And all that we've done all these years could just be for naught if we don't get this one right. In my entire lifetime, and I'm sure you can agree as well, there's never been such a dire situation as there has been right now. And I know there's been some tough situations, but what's going on right now, our country has been infiltrated, and the very White House has been infiltrated by the very terrorists that we should have kept out of this country. And the terrorist is laughing as he continues to make his apology tours all around the different aspects of the world. So that's my rant. If you have an issue with that, I don't care. Okay? People criticize. I don't care. There's things that are more important than having to be concerned about some little criticism that's going on out there. The things to be concerned about are our friends and our family and the safety of who we are as Americans. And I'm certainly not going to sit by and remain silent. There's a saying, bad things happen when good people say and do nothing. And if by speaking out, if I could encourage or inspire one person to stand up, then I've done my job, because then that person might go out and inspire one person, and that person may inspire one person. And if we do that and good people speak up, we'll find that we have a country that is the way we want it to be, and we won't be worrying about all these fears and this nonsense that's going on. So all of this stuff, we need to bring back around to understanding how all of this stuff plays in to all that we've been learning about from the Nag Hammadi, the deceptions that have taken place, the deception that we don't know who the real God is because we've been deceived. We haven't been told that the God that is of the Bible, the Old Testament, we haven't been told that this is the fallen one. So we've been deceived, and we're living through this deception with all of these archons and all of these dark energies that are around, that are influencing simple-minded humans to do their bidding. We need to be strong, my friends. I was reminded the other day, I was out taking a walk, and I was reminded that, we often say, oh, we need to be peaceful. We need to not have to ever get in any battles or fights or whatever. And then I remembered the other day in the story that Michael and his angels fought the devil, fought the serpent, and cast them out from the heavenly realms. So sometimes fighting is necessary. Sometimes standing up against evil is the right thing to do. So now is the time, my friends, we need to stand up against the evil in whatever way we need to do that. And there's a lot of good people here on earth that are able to do that. And the people that are here on the earth are part of all different religions. They're part of all different races. There are people that are here specifically to stand against this evil. And all this nonsense about skin color, come on, give me a break, would you? We have gone back and forth from one body to the next over many, many lifetimes, that we've all had an opportunity to be all the different colors that are available. We've all been black, we've all been white, we've all been Asian, we've all been Mexican. We've been all of the various colors that are out there. Red, brown, black, white, yellow. So we need to be over this. And when people are still fighting about this, it's just so in the past, you know? So let's get over it, my friends. Let's get past that. Let's move forward into a better understanding of what's going on by recognizing the spirit within us. Let's understand that each and every one on this planet is here for the same purpose, to evolve, to grow. And let's recognize when there's evil out in the world, and let's put a stop to it. Evil can't exist unless we allow it to exist. But you and I and everyone, we have to take that responsibility to stop it. It's not just going to stop on its own. It's just going to continue to spread until someone puts their foot down and says, enough is enough. No more evil. It's time for good. It's time for God. It's that simple, my friends. It's that simple. But it takes courage. And there's a world right now where there's not a lot of courage. And you see the way these young people are growing up. There's no courage amongst the young men in this world today. They're teaching them to grow up and be little pansies, little wussies, afraid of their own shadows, afraid of words, afraid of things people are writing on sidewalks, fighting over nonsense, trying to get back and fight for segregation when ancestors were fighting to get away from that. On and on and on. One problem after the other. So we can change it, but we have to stand up against it. We have to be brave. And I know that bravery exists. I do know that it exists. We just have to embrace it and be brave and trust. Trust the warriors inside of us, the spiritual warriors. Sometimes you got to fight. Remember, Archangel Michael and his angels fought to get the evil out of the kingdom. So now here on earth, those of us who are here to fight for good, well, we need to step up and we need to fight for good. And we need to kick the evil out of our realm, because it's causing a whole world of hurt that none of us should have to endure. If you got an issue with anything I said there, well, that's your issue. I said what I said, and that's how I feel. And I think that you understand, because I think a lot of you feel exactly the same way. All right, article right here. 10 reasons to eat more carrots. Thought I'd throw this in there, a little health. Carrots are more than just a tasty addition to soups, salads, and juices. They are also good for your body's overall health, especially that of the skin, eyes, digestive system, and teeth. So if the sweet flavor isn't enough, enjoy these 10 reasons. 1, they provide beta-carotene. 2nd, they're good for digestion. 3, they provide alkaline elements. 4, they're loaded with potassium. They provide good dental health. They're helping to heal wounds. They provide us with photon nutrients. They have carotenoids, which helps our body regulate blood sugar. They're good sources of fiber, and they're good for the eyes, the hair, the nails, and the more. Okay? Article here 5, cancer facts that conventional medicine wants you to believe are myths. Okay? This is very important as well, because we have these diseases that we can certainly cure upon this planet if we simply put our minds to it, and yet we have big pharmaceutical companies are out there creating more problems. So let's look at why is the cancer industry claims this. Okay, fact number 1, the rise in all types of cancers are due to our modern society diets. Yet the industry will say this is a myth. I'm just going to read the headlines here. I'm going to leave the article for you. Fact 2, superfoods and herbs can prevent cancer. Cancer industry claims this is a myth. They don't want you to know that. Acidic diets cause cancer. But the cancer industry claims this is a myth. Sugar feeds cancer. Again, the cancer industry claims this is a myth. And finally, conventional cancer treatment kills more than it cures. Cancer industry doesn't want you to know this. Here's the situation, my friends. It's real simple. There's no money in the cure. Therefore, pharmaceutical companies that make big money and give donations to political persons so that they will push their pharmaceutical agendas, they don't want to have anything natural to come out to help heal the body because there's no cure in that. There's no cure. I mean, there's no money in that. If the pharmaceutical companies are growing, let's say, cannabis oil and providing cannabinoids for people, and this is something that everybody could grow and use on their own, the pharmaceutical companies aren't going to be making money off of that. So like they're trying to do now, they're trying to regulate it. Yet we have plenty of stories of people who are healing their cancer using cannabis oil. There's no money in the cure. They're not going to provide you with the cure. All they're going to provide you with is something that is going to get you hooked on their product, and oftentimes for a long time. There's more people who are involved with abuses of pharmaceutical products than anything else that's out there. We need to pay attention, my friends. Need to pay attention, because otherwise we're just hurting ourselves. All right, here's a message for today, channeled message. Here we go.
Initiating Your Heaven on Earth, March 30th, 2016 via Brenda Hoffman. Dear ones, until now, you have been busy clearing, cleaning and dreaming. A bit like Cinderella wishing she could attend the prince's ball as she cleaned cinders. Even though some of you created pieces of your 3D dream world, you have evolved beyond that. To what and where have you evolved? You continue your 3D life of job, family, community with a few changes here and there, yet you catch glimpses of your new being in life. That is not to say you are immediately drawn to that life, but that you are adjusting to thoughts of that new life. Some of you worry your earth dreams will never come to fruition. That even though you will zoom throughout the universes, you will still have to worry about finances or living in a home that does not feel like a home. Such is not true. The new you, new life you are catching in glimmers here and there includes your earth being. You are of earth. Even though you are transitioning to a multidimensional being, you are of earth until you decide to transition to life beyond earth. Some of you question if you have the energy or desire to continue hoping for a multidimensional being. You are so exhausted by the earth energies now that you cannot envision or are not interested in dimensional/frequency travel. The energies raining upon earth the next few weeks are to help provide you with the inner strength and energy to create heaven on earth for yourself, as well as multidimensional/frequency travel. Some of you are negating your earth being for universal dimensional/frequency travel. Such is possible in most environments other than Earth. Your role, difficult as it might seem, is to create heaven on Earth. At the same time you travel dimensionally and create new frequencies. Your role is to create a new, most particularly of Earth. For until this transition, and intradimensional travels, time and frequency creations were limited to few Earth beings throughout the ages. Your mission, which you so readily accepted before entering Earth in this lifetime, is to assist Earth as it becomes a full member of the universes. So you are. But many of you are attempting to do so without Earth tethers. You feel Earth's restrictions are limiting you. That you are ready to fly, but Earth needs like financial security, shelter, relationships and food are restricting your movements and goals. You have forgotten your mission. For what you hope to achieve dimensionally and frequency-wise in this lifetime is so easy in other locations as not to be noted. Earth has always curtailed your moments in those directions. You might channel, visit other locations through mind thought or many other activities like healing. But you often do so by negating Earth's former restrictions instead of incorporating new Earth as was your intent before entering Earth in this lifetime. Earth is your home planet now. Even
All right. Very good. Very good. All right, there's a bit more to this message here. I thought it was only like a minute long. It's 7 minutes, so I'm going to leave it for you so you could check out the rest of it. Let's get to our meditation for today. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another deep breath. Exhale again. And another breath. And exhale. All right, let's just think about the earth. Think about the plane of the earth and all the beings that are living upon it. And let's just think about the cosmos and where we came from prior to being here on the earth. And as we think about the cosmos and the time before being here, and then we bring our thoughts back to here on the earth, we remember the reason why we came. We remember that our purpose for being here had nothing to do with money or physical things, but has to do with evolving, dealing with the challenges of this dense energy. And so as we think about the things that we came here to do, and we think about the earth and all of the distractions of the earth, we realize that the challenge is to not get caught up in these distractions, but to be able to move past them. And we know that in order to move past them, we sometimes need to know what they are. For we know that it's important to walk through the world fully aware, as opposed to being ignorant. So we move through the world being aware of where the distractions are, being aware where the evil is that is trying to cause us problems and trip us up. And as we are more aware, we are able to move past these distractions easily. And as we move past these distractions and begin to remember the purpose for which we came, we find ourselves strengthened, empowered. So, let's just see ourselves walking down the path of life. And let's just imagine one distraction after another getting in our way, one obstacle, a roadblock. But as it does, we see ourselves moving around it. And as we are aware of what these distractions are, we're able to see them coming our way long before they arrive, so that by the time they get here, we're able to step around them. So let's just imagine going through the world today, observing where the distractions are, and then moving around them and continuing on our way, knowing that this world and the distractions are simply part of the challenge, part of the process of us evolving. And as we move past the distractions and the roadblocks and challenges one by one, we find ourselves strengthened. We find ourselves focused. And let's just imagine sharing this strength and this inspiration with others, that they step around the distractions as well. And as we all do this, we find that the earth becomes more peaceful. The people on the earth become much more aware. And soon the distractions dissipate. The evil disappears, and all that is left is the goodness. Heavenly Father, Heavenly Mother, thank you for the blessings of life that you share with us on a daily basis. Thank you for the spark of life that flows through us. We pray that we recognize this divinity within, that we may shine it out into the entire earth, throughout the entire world. And we thank you for the opportunity to be here on earth at this time, that we might stand for the good and help those in need, that we might all evolve together. So let's just imagine ourselves walking down the path of life, sending out positivity along the way. Let the subconscious mind continue on that journey, and let's bring the conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3 coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2 coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1 coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale and open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That's the show for today. Thank you very much for being here. Kind of went off on a rant today, but that's necessary from time to time. We need to be aware of the challenges that are in the world. We need to prepare ourselves mentally, spiritually, physically, to deal with all of these challenges. But there isn't anything here that we can't overcome. And once we do, we find ourselves strengthened even more. So let's move through these challenges, my friends. Let's work together to eliminate the evil and the darkness. And the way we do that is by simply putting more good into the world, until good outnumbers the bad. It's not such a difficult thing. We can do it very easily. We just have to be willing to do that. Thanks for being here. I'll be back tomorrow. Till then, have an awesome day. I love you. Keep loving each other, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.